Right, so, I know this whole draw my life trend is a bit outdated, given that it's 2019, but considering most of my upload specials have been compilations of my matchday vlogs and other things, I figured why not just do a draw my life special, talking about my life before I decided to create this YouTube channel, and explain what has got me to start filming matchday experiences. And yeah, also, please don't rip into my drawings too much, and some of the other drawings that you are about to see. I know I'm terrible at drawing, and any hope of becoming an artist is pretty much off the cards. I mean, I've had 3 consecutive Ds in my end of year art exams in school, so I'm sure that's enough to say I am awful at drawing. But anyway, let's begin. So, let's take you to the very day where I was born and Samuel Joseph Chippeck came to the very existence. So my story begins in North London. I was born in the Royal Free Hospital on the 8th of December 1995. Now this is a part where I talk about some key things about myself that not many of you would have known unless you know me personally. Firstly, I was born with a very large and odd-shaped head. I don't know if you've seen this film, but Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, I think that's how it's called. Well, that's how my head was basically shaped. An alien crystal skull. And if you're thinking, yes, it did injure my mum when she gave birth to me. Which it probably explains why she's a lot of the time, very often, short-tempered around me. I guess that explains as well why I'm not really a mummy's boy. So as a result of basically injuring my mum thanks to my oversized head, I was given this powdered milk. However, this powdered milk contained dairy, and this was the discovery that I am lactose intolerant. In other words, I have a dairy allergy, and this is basically the diet that sums up my life, the diet that I have to live by, basically. And yeah, that basically means no pizza, no cheese, no ice cream, and no milk in my cereals. Well, actually, that's a lie, because for years I've been eating vegan versions of what I can't eat. So my life isn't all that terrible. It does get annoying, however, when I'm like in a restaurant or going into Costa or Starbucks, and I'll always say, with almond milk, please. And then the assumption is always, oh, are you vegan? And it wouldn't annoy me so much if I wasn't asked about this like 99% of the time. Another fact about me is that half my family are Spanish, all from my mum's side, and Spanish football and La Liga has always been a huge interest to me. Although everyone in my mum's side support Real Madrid, even before having to witness Florentino Perez snatching Gareth Bale and Luka Modric from us, I have always been a bigger fan of Barcelona's football. Especially with footballers like Carlos Puyol, Messi as a 16-year-old, Samuel Eto'o, and especially Ronaldinho, as he was my favourite. The Spanish language has always been a part of my life. Even if I haven't spoken it for months or possibly years, my understanding and ability to speak it is still there. Which I suppose if I was to live in Spain, I could if I wanted to. However, there was a point where maybe Spanish was getting a bit too much for me to handle. In nursery, I actually wasn't able to speak or understand English, which kind of led me to be a foreigner in my own country and in my own class, not to sound like very Brexit or UKIP. And I just wasn't able to understand a lot of things a lot of the time in class. Wasn't able to understand nursery rhymes, wasn't able to understand what my kindergarten teachers were telling me, and I was at risk of basically being held back at school for possibly 1 to 2 years academically. I mean, imagine you are born in this country and you can't even understand the language that's spoken here. Yep, someone like me is unfortunate to actually be that unlucky. Anyway, my story of supporting Spurs is pretty much because of my dad. As soon as I was born, I was put in Tottenham pyjamas. Funnily enough, I was born in a North London derby day. And coincidentally, so are my 2 younger brothers who you have seen in the channel, Jesse and Alex. And I was taken to my first ever game where we played against Middlesbrough. Not too sure when it was, I think it was 1998. And I also think we may have lost that game 3-0, which is standard because we were terrible. It actually got pretty difficult for me at primary school because pretty much everyone in my class supported Arsenal. And I was bantered so much for it. Now, it wouldn't be so painful if your friends supported the same team, but it was literally just me. I was the only Spurs fan in that class, and can you imagine having 20 plus of your classmates circling around you, bantering you about your club, saying to you that Tottenham are shit? Imagine having to go through with that, because I still remember those horrible days of being abused as a Tottenham fan. In my early childhood, I remember my heroes, David Ginola, because he was pretty much the first name I got attached to as a toddler. And I enjoyed watching his skills on the pitch. I mean, the guy was very, very skillful. And I think he was the first named shirt I got as well as a toddler. However, for me, my first player that I looked up to with a clear memory was Robbie Keane. The Irish striker banging in those goals and his trademark celebration with the cartwheel and the gun shooting with his fingers. I mean, that's what brought so many memories to me. Another favourite memory of mine was the Carling Cup final against Chelsea in 2008. I was there at Wembley Stadium, and to watch your team lift a trophy is truly a very blessed moment. We were 1-0 down, but then Berbatov managed to equalise with a penalty with an alleged handball from, I think it was Wayne Bridge, which Tommy Huddleston, I think, basically won us that penalty. And then the scrappiest ever goal from Jonathan Woodgate, and we were Carling Cup winners. Sadly though, this trophy was the last we'd win, and the last ever trophy we won. And it's been a never-ending storm of trophy digs at us by fans from other clubs, and honestly, it's so painful to have to go through that. So after I completed my A-levels in history, politics, media studies and ethics, I decided to enrol at Bournemouth University to try and get a degree in politics and media. Whilst living by the sea, I got to enjoy 4 great years of living away from home, making new mates, going on night out, and enjoying other activities I wouldn't normally do at home. But to be honest, despite the whole university experience was amazing to me, I did lose interest in politics. The main reason to why I lost interest in politics was because of recent political events and how people in general were responding to it. With Brexit coming along in 2016, followed by a few months later, an absolute lunatic winning the American elections, and then towards his very present day of still not leaving the EU without a deal, and having Boris Johnson coming along at 10 Downing Street, it got to the point where I basically had enough of politics. I was just really losing interest with how people were claiming they knew all the answers, and then others who were just basically making our lives a bit difficult with this never-ending stuff we tend to try not to hear on a day-to-day basis about in the media. But hey-ho, it just weren't for me. Politics ain't for me, and that job for Prime Minister I think has to go to someone else because I'm just not interested anymore. So during my time in university, as I was studying a degree that involved some filmmaking, I did build an interest in making films. At the same time, I was always told that some of my reactions were comical when watching Tottenham play. Now this is the part that led me to create my channel. In fact, there were a few other factors. Some of my mates were telling me they would love it if someone filmed my reactions whilst watching football. Others saying I should start my own YouTube channel because they thought I had the right personality for it. However, the main reason to what got me to start my channel was because of my family that didn't live in the UK. In fact, I got family from different parts of the world. They're separated amongst the globe. But my intentions was to film a few bits of the game and make it into an upload to give them the idea of what it's like to watch a game. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why bother filming a game when you can just watch the highlights? Well, this is the thing. The highlights shows you the game itself, i.e. who scored the goals and what the goal was like. However, what a matchday vlog shows you that the match highlights do not, is a matchday experience of what it's like to go to a game. And that's why I pretty much did that. To give my family the opportunity to be able to watch a game from their laptop or from their phone or whatever device in my perspective, and also to give people like you who don't have the opportunities to go to games to be able to watch this. And so the 2016-17 season was the first ever time I was vlogging a match, and the first game I was vlogging was Tottenham versus Crystal Palace. And at that point onwards, I had no clue I was going to be making this sort of video you are watching right now. And very soon the channel slowly started to build up. I managed to get a few cheeky views here and there. I was very happy with getting 10k views in my North London Derby vlog where I was sitting with the Arsenal fans and having to hide my Tottenham identity. However, I don't think I even reached past 150 subscribers that year. And then the season after that, I think I hardly reached past 300 subscribers as well. But I got to meet a lot of Spurs YouTubers like We Are Tottenham TV, Expressions, George Achillia, and many more talented Tottenham vloggers out there. They were doing bits for their channels, and very well deserved. Whereas with me, I just wasn't making any growth, and I was starting to really question myself to whether I was really up for this sort of content. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, it is all entertaining and good making the videos, but when you've got university work and when you've got so many things going on in your life, it's just really difficult to keep a consistency, because I just wasn't very consistent with my channel and I wasn't really prioritizing it. I wasn't putting it up there, and I just wasn't being brave and going all out there and doing everything I can to get my channel up there. And like I said, things were just not done consistently, and I was just wondering if I was just really unlucky or just not good at being a content creator for Spurs matchday vlogs in general. It really bugged me, and I just had no clue what it was I was doing wrong or not enough to get the growth I was hoping to achieve. And to be honest, I'm going to reveal something a little bit deep, and I don't want this to turn into a bit of a soppy story, if you know what I mean. But the reason why I'm saying this is because it does explain a massive part to why I make these videos. And in the spring and summer of 2018, I just wasn't uploading any videos, for months in fact. And this was because I felt close to giving up. And what played a part to it was when I discovered, after years of denial, I just wasn't quite 100% okay in the mind, and things were just getting too much for me. And it would be a long, depressing summer before I realised an important lesson, which I will get to in a second. And this takes me to that day when I was up to my usual activities of just staying in my bed and just not doing anything but locking myself away from the outside world. But then all of a sudden, I randomly got an email. I opened the email and it was from some Sky Sports representatives. I spoke to them, and then we agreed to call down the phone, and they called me up and they said that they wanted to use my Chelsea versus Spurs live reaction vlog for their advert. And this completely changed my perspective around myself and my channel. And I said to myself, right, I'm on 500 subscribers and I just got one of my vlogs through to national television. Now where do I go from there? This made me realise this is about content, not social growth. This is about putting in the quality that you make in your editing. And then I realised this simple saying: if you work hard, then you'll get it eventually. And from that point onwards, I did not look back. I just looked forward and thought of every possible way I can do to up the quality of my matchday vlogs and my newly established content of live reactions with my dad and two brothers. That is, if we couldn't go to the games. I then realised that the bad times I had to go through would make up for everything if I took the opportunity to really take my channel seriously and just put my mindset to it. And that's what I decided to do. This channel became my antidepressant, where I use this to keep my mind sane and to make sure there's always something I've got to do and look forward to. And this is where I started last season with a strong belief. Your goals will come, but right now we think, we work, we achieve, and we repeat. And I made sure I did everything I could to stick to this cycle. And very soon, you guys came to my life by more of you clicking on that subscribe button. And the subs made the history and achievements for me from there. You made the history and achievements for me. And I'm always grateful for that. And this video was what finally got me to that start of the dream. Tottenham versus Barcelona. And yes, we may have lost, but I got to see the best footballer in the world up close. And we played our hearts out that game. And he was training right in front of me, Lionel Messi, the GOAT. I gave you guys the perspective of that match, and you guys all turned in from around the world. People in the comments section were all over from the world giving me love and praise for the upload, and I will always remember that moment. And if I couldn't go to games, I just decided to do my live reactions. And you guys still watched my videos, which shows it's not about going to the game. It's about the love of football, the passion, the emotions. Seeing us beat Man City in a Game of Thrones style-esque sort of plot. And then of course that semi-final in Amsterdam, 2-0 down, and then we make that comeback with Mora's hat-trick goal and with those 2 videos put together, we made 1 million views. Obviously, we all knew what happened in the final, but I took a break, determined to reach what I wanted. And I did it. We did it. 10,000 subscribers, and I still can't get my head around it. Honestly, if I had 10,000 of you in the room, I would love it if I could just thank you all individually, because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be where I am. I owe it all to you guys, and I will continue this channel. And the reason why I decided to talk about my personal thoughts that I was going through is because I want you guys to be able to understand that whatever it is you're going through and whatever dream you have, you own the dream. And guys, once again, thank you so much for helping me reach my goal of 10,000 subscribers. And who knows, maybe, just maybe one day,